right? We can't be going out there and doing things that aren't hitting the bottom line and aren't actually raising that level. So we have to be conscious in terms of what we actually put our time and effort into. Being able to not be afraid of the technology, right? Being able to embrace the technology. I mean, that's also like in line with this new conversation around generative AI and how it's evolving and starting to take over a lot of industries and a lot of what we do on a daily basis. So yeah, man, you just came right off the top there, throwing haymakers. I'm like, my goodness, okay. What did I walk into? It's all good. It's all good.
Hello and welcome to the Poly and Content Creator Spotlight. I'm Dustin, Poly Innovator. Today I'm talking with James Hicks, an engineering technologist, coach, content creator, and honestly, just a cool guy. Thanks for coming on the show.
Man, thank you, brother. I appreciate the invite. This is going to be a good time.
Oh, it is. I mean, we talked just earlier this week and we couldn't stop the ball rolling. I even just like kind of talking to you before this call, we were talking about how you were doing like a multi-stream to like 18 different places and how just the challenges of that as a creator. And you and I just love kind of going into the details like that. Did you want to share anything on that, or?
Well, you just want to open up the wounds right off the jump, huh?
Rip off the Band-Aid.
So, my gosh, okay. No honeymoon period at all with you. Listen, out here trying to do different things, right? Out here trying to really rise above the noise, trying to bring high quality content, trying to bring value to the community. And a way of doing that for me and my platform is to bring in different experts, different like minds, and different folks with different perspectives. So yeah, recently had a multi-geographic panel of folks on talking about the business of technology and talking about content creation, talking about this whole ecosystem and this whole environment. There were some technology issues, technology challenges. I won't even call them problems, right? I'll call them issues and challenges. Just again, with having so many people coming in from so many disparate locations and internet bandwidth, things of that nature. But that's how you learn. Right, by doing those things that, again, a little different than everyone else that's out there, by being unique, being different, and like I say, rising above that noise. So I researched and took a look at what caused some of the issues that I had during that particular stream. And next week when we go live, we're going to be 2% better. Right, we're going to make sure that the experience and the value for the community that are listening and are watching is going to be that much better. So I actually like it when things don't go as completely as planned. I like it when the lights go out or when an internet glitch happens or when an overlay doesn't look right. Because again, in those moments, that's when you learn and that's when you get a little bit better. And then next time, I know what to do, I know what to expect, or I can talk to someone who's in the same boat, looking to do a live stream, do a podcast, do whatever the case may be, and say, Dustin, be ready for this. Think about this, those kinds of things. So yeah, I enjoy it. I wallow in the agony sometimes, but yeah, it's all good, brother. It's all good.
Well, and I'm definitely sorry to kind of dig into that wound that's pretty fresh. I just think that you did a great job, though. Like you said, like not only are you taking it with just this mindset of growth and trying to improve, which not everybody does that, especially right off the bat like you were doing. But I think you did a great job. I had come in a couple times towards the beginning and more towards the end because I was busy working on some other stuff in the middle. But it was one of those things where when I came in, things were going, things were popping, the conversation was flowing. Managing that many people, managing that many streams, there's this orchestration involved. And you have those skills, and those skills were shown in that moment.
I appreciate that. Man. It's an innate talent. I guess I won't be humble on the stream here, but
Hey, this is your spotlight. Don't be humble.
I'll admit I do a decent job at that, man. And again, it's the idea is to limit me, but be more attentive to the guest, right? It's all about the guest when I'm having a conversation. So how do I bring the best out of whomever I'm talking to and whatever we're talking about, and then the engagement that's in the comments and in the community and things of that nature. So having 18 disparate streams running at one particular time, all coming from one central location and going out to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think someone was going even to TikTok. We were going everywhere. Right, but and to have it go off with little hitches, but still brought value, and the audience the audience got the value out of it. I think, honestly, me being the producer, me being the host, me being the originator, I'm beating myself up more over the intricacies and the nuance of it. But rise above that, and the value was actually provided and was actually given. So I give myself a high C, a high C. A high C grade, passing grade. Still work to be done, but we passed, and we got the diploma signed. So
plus, as we both know, you can always dump it into Opus and see what comes out of that too.
Listen, it's generating right now, brother. Don't trip. Yeah, it's over here. We'll have some micro content clips in about 20 minutes. So don't trip. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, and I bet your solution architecture background probably helps a lot with that too. The way you can kind of see the bigger picture and understand the intricacies and how things are connected together.
Yeah, being able to not be afraid of the technology, right? Being able to embrace the technology. I mean, that's also like in line with this new conversation around generative AI and how it's evolving and starting to take over a lot of industries and a lot of what we do on a daily basis. So, going back to my enterprise technology mindset and background, just again knowing that it's not broken, we can fix it. Identify the problem, find out what that root cause is, and do that root cause analysis, and then work our way out of that and around that. So that's part of what I can teach as well, right? Again, don't be afraid of that technology, embrace it, and then don't let it overtake you and overshadow you, but then grow and learn from it.
Well, and then once you do make that mindset shift, you start to kind of get better and better at that skill. For example, my building's internet infrastructure is really terrible. And for the years that I've been here, it's one of those things where the cables are just strewn over the side. The actual coax cables are split and, adapters. It's a whole mess.
Don't tell me that. No, you come talking to a guy who knows how to crimp his own cables. Don't tell me that.
I'll show you a picture later. I'll tell you what.
Don't break my heart like that.
It's one of those things where I'm trying to figure out, what do I need to do? I'm trying to contact the right people, trying to make sure, because I studied a bit towards the Network Plus certification and started learning the OSI model and that kind of thing, and trying to figure out, which layer is what's causing the issues? Is it the house? Is it the one on this corner there? Where is it at? That kind of thing. Also, I probably should get to the questions here. The first one, I think, is actually pretty.
We just shooting right off the dome, right?
We went right into it.
This is the best part, right? We just coming right off the cuff, man. It's all good.
That's what I love about these kind of shows. I was actually thinking about it, maybe I should get a little bit meta here in my head, but the orchestration of this interview, for example, I normally, I do the introductions, we say hi, and then I throw a curveball at you. So normally on the other show, and what I was going to do to you today, and we can still do it, is I ask people to share something about themselves that no one knows about you. And it's a nice curveball to kind of break the ice. I ended up asking a harder question for you, but still. Yeah,
man, you just came right off the top there, throwing haymakers. My goodness, okay. What did I walk into? It's all good. It's all good.
Man, the first day I met you, I was chugging a giant thing of caffeine. What do you mean?
That's true. Hey, we have to stay hydrated. We have to keep going. And speaking, I'm not going to drop that on you because I have a product launch that's coming, and I've hinted to that, and it may be in that realm of a beverage that you and I are accustomed to. I'll just put that out there.
We'll be talking afterwards, and when you're ready to advertise it too, I'll have you back on. We can do that as well. But yeah,
we may be talking next week then.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Why don't you share something about yourself that no one knows about you? I already brought it up. Might as well go with it.
Man, I'm an open book, brother. I don't know if there's something about me that people don't know. It's listen, you Google my name, and I'm not the first James Hicks that you see, because the first guy that you see is a murderer.
Yeah.
You have to go to page 2 and page 3 to actually get me. But I don't know, things about me that people don't know. Again, man, and it's hard to answer that question because, again, the industry that I'm in, because I live in technology, right? Because I have to be out there either on LinkedIn, either on Facebook, either on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I have to be out there in these streets, either sharing information, sharing knowledge, being in front of the stage and doing keynotes and having presentations. So I've got to be out there. Been in this field for almost 4 decades. Worked at Apple for 10 years. Worked at HP for 20 years, worked at Dell for about 7 years. Something that not a lot of people know about me, but the folks around me and on my team at Apple know about this, is I have had one of those infamous one-on-ones with Steve Jobs.
Okay.
And folks that work at Apple know what I mean when I say that. There was lore about you being in an elevator with Steve Jobs. By the time you get to the bottom floor, he'll ask you what you do for the company, and if you didn't like it, you could be fired. I didn't have that one-on-one, but as I was walking out of Infinite Loop one day, I didn't recognize the guy. Well, I didn't notice the guy because he was much shorter than I am. I damn near knocked the guy down to the ground. Much shorter than I am. I'm just 6 feet, but still. I almost knocked Steve Jobs down. I help him to get back up. We look at each other. I'm sweating because, again, I think, oh, my God, I just knocked down Steve Jobs. We give each other the eye. We point, move on, and everything is cordial after that. Everyone on my team is looking at me. Their mouth is all aghast and wondering, what in the world did you just do? But there's my story. There's my infamous one-on-one with Steve Jobs. I didn't get fired. I didn't get laid off or anything. But, hey, I am officially a part of the cult of Mac, and that just actually made it that much cooler, that much better to have that literal one-on-one run-in with Steve Jobs.
No, I love that. And see, that's why I like asking that little kind of icebreaker as well, because you never know what someone's going to come up with or like dig from the reaches of their memories.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta reach back, brother. Yeah. Listen, again, I'm 54
like
years old, man.
Pretty public,
brother. No, I'm 50. Listen, I gotta reach back, right? So I can't remember what I did yesterday, so be able to pull that one out. Yeah, that's a cool one, so I can remember that one. But don't ask me what I did last week.
Pull a Kevin Hart, be like, damn.
I've got that sound trigger in my Rodecaster, so I mean, I could.
You could, yeah, I could
play that, but I won't do it. But yeah, I've got that sound trigger.
All right. What got you
throwing you off guard?
It's okay. It's fun. What got you started as a content creator? Because you've been in the IT business for a while, so you've been around technology, but content's obviously different tech.
That's a good question. And my story is, I always I say this, if there was any blessing of COVID, right, it was the fact that we got the opportunity to stop and pause and figure out what it is that we wanted to do. So for a long time, So Hicks New Media has been in existence for about 11 years and started out from a blogging perspective, huge in WordPress, huge in, the textual piece of telling those stories. But when COVID hit and we couldn't get out, the whole planet stopped. I said, let me reach out to folks who I probably typically couldn't or wouldn't have had the access to. Let me turn on these lights. Let me press record. Let me fire up these microphones and let's share stories. Let's continue to stay connected. Let's continue to stay engaged. And out of that lockdown period is when I started branching out and saying, I want to go with video, right? Because again, I was doing text. I was doing a little bit of audio podcasting as well. But, being able to emote, being able to show a conversation piece. I talk with my hands a lot, man. And you can't really do that on a blog post or in an audio podcast. So doing that, having video, sharing content creation stories, because that's where I was going, talking about the business of technology. That's one of the taglines that I have for my organization as well. So at the intersection of business and technology. So having those conversations really started blossoming off into just some new opportunities, brand partnership relationships, meeting great people like you, man, and just really hooking up with folks that are doing good things. And again, like I keep saying, rising above the noise and doing something different. So yeah, that was really how I got into this whole world of digital content creation.
I love that. And I love how you also, saw this COVID time, quarantine time as an opportunity time. Like a lot of people just kind of saw it as a pause. They stopped doing what they were doing. They didn't try anything new per se. I think I might have taken a course, stuff like that. For the most part, a lot of people just kind of stayed stagnant. And during 2020 and 2021 is when I started doing all these interviews. I actually put everything else on hold, even like my swimming stuff that I was planning on doing. And since then, I did 116 on the main show that I was doing at the time, still do now. And that's what got me into working with Opus, because I started using it so much for those interviews. And then now I met you, now we're doing these newer interviews, and it's one of those things where that time period where people thought there wasn't opportunity led to more and more opportunity.
That was it. We no one ever thought the world would stop. Yeah. But if you took advantage of that opportunity, and hopefully everyone in everyone's family who's listening, watching, paying attention here, that everyone's okay coming out of that as well, but those types of things. But that actually was an opportunity to, again, pause, an opportunity to really meditate and be intentional in terms of what it is that you wanted to put out to the world. right? Because again, that was nothing that was expected, and it wasn't just your block, it wasn't just your street, it wasn't just your state, it was the entire planet that stopped. And you get something like that to come and affect you from a not just a physical perspective, from a mental perspective as well. Let's just make sure that each time we get out of the bed, that we do something that matters, something that resonates. Make sure that we touch someone just in a positive state and in a positive perspective, so that we are leaving legacy and leaving a mark. So that really, it touched me from that perspective to say, let's make sure that each time we get up and get the opportunity to say and or do something, that we do it with intentionality.
And bring them up a bit.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the blog pillar there, content, and you do a lot of video content and live streams actually as well, but I kind of just grouped that at the moment with this video. So out of the 3 pillar contents, you have, written, audio, and video, what is your favorite to make?
Live stream.
Okay.
About 90% of what I do is live stream. Right. I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even write articles anymore. I just, I've consolidated everything into one primary site, Infotainment News, and probably, I know 100% of the content that comes from there is sponsored. So folks will actually pay me because it's got great SEO retention. It's a long-lived site, and it's pretty well received. So I get paid for all the content that I publish out on that site. So I don't even really touch that much anymore, but it's still a great online presence. Recorded video is something I'm getting more into, right? Just to have those smaller, snackable, bite-sized bits of information and content for folks to consume. But live stream is where I'm at. I love, again, the ad-lib piece. I'll have her run a show, but if the conversation deviates and goes in a different direction, that part I love, right? That's where the aha moments come, and that's where the real enjoyment and the action and the engagement, all that stuff happens. So I still love everything about literally going live. It could be just me and the other person on the other end. It could be just me talking to the screen. And then when I see 1 or 2 people start jumping in, that's when, that's when the jazz hands come on, man. That part I love. I love that piece.
Well, and I definitely actually get that. While I don't do lives myself, the interviews kind of have that same feeling when it comes to just like the off-the-cuff kind of stuff that we talk about. Just like at the beginning of this call, we started just kind of going right at it kind of thing. It's that natural rhythm. Obviously with live, you have people participating who aren't necessarily talking. There might be just people coming in, like me commenting or whatever. And I think that's something that's really interesting. Ben Kaluza, when he came on this show, I thought about like the trifecta of content being written, audio, and video, kind of live being in there too. But he brought up this different trifecta to me: short form, long form, and live. And how a lot of creators are good at 2 and learning the other one, or they're starting out with just 1. So like, for example, he was used to like live and long form, or no, live and short form, but learning long form. I'm good at like long and short form, but I'm learning live. It seems like you're saying there you're kind of good at short and live, but learning long form.
Well, for me, it's like different. I feel I'm good at long form live, but the short form at 30, 60, 90 second, right? Because the attention span of you younger folks, right, is only 30, 60, 90 second. So editing it down, putting in awesome captions, putting in trending music, doing all those things around it, and so you stop the scroll kind of things. That's where I'm evolving and learning every single day. I'm evolving and learning in all the other pieces right there, but to be honest with you, forward of mine, what I'm consciously working on getting better at is those snackable bite-sized. Well, I keep calling them snacks. I'm hungry. That's the problem. Right now, I'm hungry. But those smaller pieces of micro content, 30, 60, 90 seconds, so to speak.
I'm glad you explained it like that too, because you are good at long and live, and so you're learning short. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking about it from a different angle, but yeah. And if we were here in person, I'd make you lunch, man.
I need something, man. Golly, all I got is a cup of coffee here. I'll be awake for a while, so I can maybe come on over.
There we go. It's only what
you see me on brand here too. Oh my, come on, now say something.
Oh my gosh, you got everything.
We focused here at the hat. We focused with the.
I'm on brand too.
Well, okay, just making sure you see that, man.
The shirt.
Yes,
too.
Come on, brother.
Okay.
I'm on brand. Okay. I will be wearing the brand. So
I'm proud. I really like that too, because when this show kind of came to be, I need to think about that. Where it's like, hey, are we going to have ad spots or something like that? Because the other show I do, I didn't want to monetize with ads, but this show is about being a creator. We have to monetize. We have to do stuff like that. And so there might be like a mid-roll, or maybe what I could do is have a middle question saying like, hey, who's one of your sponsors right now that you really want to give a shout out?
No, I don't know if I want to put them out there in these streets like that, right? I could say, well, Shure is definitely one that I work with really closely with, and love the relationship, love the partnership that I have with Shure. So they're good folks. Obviously, you and I are connected through Opus Clip as well, and they are a fantastic platform, fantastic people. So love what they do as well. But yeah, I've been doing some pretty good things with some pretty good partners and affiliated relationships. So I don't want to single anybody out. So them checks stop coming. I don't want to.
Hold on, why don't you call me out?
Yeah, see, I don't want to mess up the checks, man. So I want to. Okay. I love them all. I love them all.
But see, that's why I'm glad I can experiment with you. We're comfortable, and it's one of those things where maybe I won't put that question into the list, because then you don't want to put pressure on.
Listen, man, we're not gonna mess up the checks. So we love everybody. We love all our children. There is no we don't have a favorite child.
Yeah, that's the thing. This Poly and Content Digest newsletter that this show has spun off of, it's one of those things where I wanted to take this agnostic approach. Even if I have a tool that I prefer, I wanted to give every tool a chance. I wanted to have this agnostic approach to it, and that way everyone can be highlighted and shown to the world. But speaking of tools like Opus and even some other ones that you've mentioned before to call like Ecamm, what are the tools you use for content creation and repurposing?
So I'm actually limiting and consolidating the toolkit. So that's an interesting question. So I use CapCut. I use Simplified. So Simplified is an alternative to something like Canva. I use Simplified. And the reason I use some of these other tools is because so many other people are using the other ones, and I want to be different. So I use DaVinci Resolve. I also use CapCut. I use Simplified, like I say, for a lot of graphics and things of that nature. I use Ecamm as my encoder of choice, so I can multicast, multi-stream out all of my video content. For generative AI, I use two tools. I use three tools. I use Opus Clip, I use Vidy.io, and a new up-and-coming entrant called Capsule. So I'm working really closely with the co-founder there in terms of shaping that particular platform as well. So I always like to have multiple. So especially when I'm coaching folks, I don't want to just lean towards one particular, because it may not be right for that particular person's needs. So let me at least give you 2 or 3 options so you can see, and these are the ones that I recommend. They do good work. You choose the one that works best for you. So I like to be more agnostic. So I'm more of an advocate instead of an influencer. So I'm really conscious about that statement as well. So I'd rather advocate for Opus and Video and Capsule than say you can only use Opus. May not be right for you. So
that's the one thing too when it comes to different tools. Like you and I earlier this week were talking about like social media management tools. Yeah. And I really like Publer because Publer can do bulk, short form, and that's one reason why I really like them. But I also like Newlink. And Newlink does great automations. It's one of the best automation tools out there. Because I didn't care for Deliverr. Deliverr didn't do the job for me, and most of the other social media management tools don't have automations at all. And so it's like when we were talking, I gave you both just in case. Because like one of those might work for you beyond what you're already using. And then other people too, like when it comes to maybe just different editors or something like that. I love DaVinci Resolve as well. Right. Some people are like, oh, I can't afford Premiere. Well, try Logic, try DaVinci, try CapCut, Clipchamp, something like that.
You tell them, well, try DaVinci. Well, how much is it? Yeah, it's free. you can afford that one, right?
Yes. And I wonder if I should get the studio version, because I'm wondering if the hardware difference that the studio version has over the free version would be worth it.
I'm hearing folks that are really glazing over when they get the hardware. The hardware is the truth for sure, but you really got to be vested in that particular platform if you're going to go that next level, because you get all the feature functionality from the free version, right? So I'm talking about.
Oh,
what are you saying?
Oh, sorry. So there's a feature difference between the free and the paid version, and I think it's CPU encoding versus like GPU encoding or something like that. And I need to probably dig more into it if I can explain it simply. But the paid version allows you to use your GPU a lot more when you're actually rendering the video.
Well, see, you're fancy, man. See, I'm just I'm blue collar. See, you are fancy guy.
Actually, teal collar. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things too, where as a tech creator, I don't know if you could like copy this idea. Once a quarter, I do what's in my tech stack kind of post, and I just share whatever I'm like working. Yeah. Have you? Okay.
That, to be honest with you, I've done that before, and that was some of the last the textual blog posts that I wrote, and very popular, very, very well received. Now not to say cop out, but now I just put everything in my description field of my YouTube videos and say, here's a link to my Amazon store using all my Genius links, and here's all of the stuff that's in my studio, and that kind of, I should probably do that again. I also used to do what's on the front screen of my phone, right? What are the apps that I'm using the most, and here are, because I change it all the time, so I would do a post about what are my most commonly used apps on my phone. So that's a good idea, man. Maybe I'll get back into that world.
Well, because like even as a fan of you, I would be curious what you're using. I mean, I talk to you about it every once in a while, and you'll bring up a tool, and I'm like, oh, you know about that tool, or oh, you're using that tool. That's cool. Why do you like it? And just like you and I can talk about it, but I'm sure there's plenty of other people who are just like, I want to know what James is using.
Maybe so. Okay, there you go. You're gonna wake the sleeping giant. This is a long weekend. I'm gonna cut up some content, and I'm gonna tag you in it specifically. It'll be. Let me see. Do I have anything interesting on my front screen here? No.
I mean, even just the black and white design was kind of interesting.
No, there's nothing. Well, no. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I can talk about Beacons, because Beacons is Beacons.ai is my content creator centric, not just link in bio, but kind of ecosystem as well.
Oh yeah.
Where you can have media kits, where you can have calendar appointment setting. You can do all of the things that are focused on folks within the content creation ecosystem, and Beacons.ai is a huge tool that I use for that. So there's that. Okay. I think Captions.ai. Oh my gosh, I've been cheating on Opus a little bit and using Captions. So yeah. I know we're recording, so you can either cut that out or whatever, or don't share it with Young and the team. But yeah, Captions.ai is the truth. Oh my gosh.
Well, they know that we both like to experiment anyways.
Okay. Well, I know, but I'm waving a lot of flags sometimes, and I know Connor's like, hey, man, don't forget to wave this flag too. But yeah,
Connor gets on me about that too.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. So yeah, and then maybe Clay, CLAY. Clay is kind of a personal information manager, really aggregates from all of your contacts, all of your social profiles and says, hey, it's been 2 weeks since you connected with Dustin. Why don't you reach out to him? Or, it's his birthday, or this is the last email that you sent. So it really allows you to be, again, intentional and conscious about the relationships that you have. So yeah, Clay is another one that I don't think a lot of people know about and take advantage of. But yeah, that really helps me be mindful of making sure that, hey, I reach out to Dustin. It's been 3 weeks since we last talked. Let me just make sure that he's good, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. See, I use like a database or a CRM. I've moved from Notion to Capacities because Capacities has this idea of how these objects can work. So let's say an object is like whatever kind of content type it is. So for example, I have a people object. And so I have people on the show who are podcast hosts themselves. Then I'll go on their show. In Notion, I had to have 2 different databases, one for the podcast and hosts, and then one for guests on my show. Whereas in here, I could just link the same person to both databases.
Gotcha.
And that's why I was like, that's kind of what I use for my CRM, but this Clay looks really interesting.
Yeah, check it out.
Let me get to the next question. Because I want to make sure we don't, get us in trouble.
I'll get you to, listen, there'll be a squirrel moment, and I'll go into all kind of tangents, so you're going to have to rein me in. Luckily, we haven't done any sports analogies yet, but, it's all good, man. Keep me locked in. Keep me focused, brother. Keep me focused.
Give me that home run, okay?
Yeah.
Can you share your favorite story that has happened to you as a creator?
Wow. I got a handful. I will say that. The first time, trying to flash back again. I remember back in my blogging days, back in my WordPress days, I written a piece of content in the technology field, shared it out on Twitter, and one of the OGs in technology, Rob Scoble. I don't know if you know who Robert Scoble is. Robert Scoble picked up on it, and he tweeted it out to his hundreds of thousands of followers as well. And there was essentially a hockey stick of engagement on my blog post at that particular time. And it was so funny that my host, I was on a shared hosting service at the time, and they called up and said, hey, you have completely obliterated and utilized all of your bandwidth on this particular shared site, so you need to go to a dedicated server. So when Robert Scoble retweeted out something that I wrote and to all of his followers, and they all came and looked at it, that was kind of the jumping off point for me to say this was a good thing. And that was, I don't know, it was probably 8-9 years ago. I'll say another one, being part of technology and being out on the red carpet and being at events and conferences. I go to CES every year. I've been to CES for about 12 years, every year. So that's the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Happens every January. Insiders within consumer technology. We see when the 3D TVs are coming out a year before they come out. 3D TVs never really took off, but we saw them the year before they were supposed to. So all of those things, right? Had an opportunity a few years ago to break bread and hang out with folks like Shaq, folks like Mario Armstrong, folks like what's the guy who used to be married to Mariah? That guy. Yeah.
I know. See, I can't think of the name.
Well, so that guy, right?
Yeah.
Nick Cannon. So Nick Cannon hung out with Shaq, hung out with Mario Armstrong, hung out with some real winners out there, some folks that are out there making big moves out there, and just being able to gain knowledge from them and have a conversation with them. So that was really, really cool to do that and to be in those circles at the right time, in the right place. So, yeah.
Man, I love that question because those answers will just, ooh. See, CES is something I've always been interested in. I've never been able to go, but I've always watched all the Tech Channel's videos. Like I've watched Engadgets and Maya's Tech Tips and NKVHD. All the channels is, when they had their...
Man, that was the first place where I really learned about soles for your shoes, right? I mean, that's the first place where I learned, man, I got to put some of these isotoners or whatever you call them, just some cushions for the feet, because you put miles in. You definitely put miles in. It's all day, every day, and carrying gear around too. This year, I'm gonna be more strategic. I'm not bringing all this. I'm probably gonna go with just a DJI Pocket 3, and I don't know. That might be it. And, maybe just my lapel mics and and that may be it. I'm not going to bring all these full frame cameras and big old lenses. I may just go with this little gimbal and the DJI Pocket 3 to capture content. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do a post about that.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, because I went to a conference for the first time this year, and like right before I met you. And it was crazy how I spent the entire time just networking and talking. Like I actually didn't really even go to panels because the panels didn't really teach me anything new. I just wanted to talk to network with people. So I just went to every booth. And that's a small one compared to CES. And so it's one of those things where I had to learn from you, take those lessons, get some shoes.
I'm telling you, bring some comfortable shoes, dress appropriately, because it's cold in those conference rooms. You may be hot outside, but again, and man, you don't need all the gear. You do not.
Well, here's an idea
Each year, after 12 years, I've literally gotten down to much lighter in terms of the toolkit and what I bring. And this year, like I say, I'm bringing just a DJI Pocket 3 and a gimbal, and that's it. And some batteries.
Yeah, I always wanted to do just a backpack. I don't want to bring a suitcase or anything like that. Just bring a backpack and just kind of walk through. But it doesn't work.
I bring the backpack for the snacks. That's my priorities are right. I don't even worry about the swag anymore and the free stuff at the booths. I got enough shirts and all that. But no, it's for the snacks. And that's what I do.
So, little tangent. What's your favorite snack?
Oh, dude, hold on. tell me twice.
He has a drawer.
High Chews, brother.
High Chews.
There you go.
Yes.
Listen, shouts out to High Chew, but I need to get a branding deal with them. High Chew is where it's at. Yeah, notice I got them right there next to me. So yeah, that's how I get down, man. That's my kryptonite. Okay. Yes, sir.
Once I get big enough, I'll have to send you a care pack.
Bruh, listen, that's the way to get to my good graces for sure. Just show up with some High Chews to the house. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. That's actually kind of a good little segue too, because I was watching like a Gary Vee video, and I've watched so many of his videos over the years. You know how it goes. And there was one video that they were going through a hotel, just kind of walking through, and they stop in a little shop at the hotel, and he points out his favorite candy. Like was exclaiming just how much he loves the candy, just like you were just sharing a High Chews set, right? You see the light in your eyes just pop up when you said it. And so I took a screenshot of that, so whenever I meet Gary Vee, I think you know which candy he likes.
Yeah, there you go, man. You know, like Marshawn Lynch and his Skittles, man. You know, Gary Vee has his whatever, and I got my High Chews. That's how we keep going. That's our fuel.
If anyone's listening, I have a mean addiction to some Smarties.
Okay.
I'll tell you what.
There you go.
Someone gives me one little thing of Smarties, I end up going to buy a bag. That bag is gone within a day. It's bad.
I love it.
Bad.
I love it.
So, what does content repurposing mean to you?
Wow, content repurposing. The idea really around reaching audiences where they are. Right, because not everyone is going to be on the live. Not everyone is going to even want to replay on this particular platform, but being able to repurpose your content and putting it where they resolve, where they live, where they're comfortable. That's the onus is on the creator for that, right? Because you can consciously decide to, I'm always on YouTube, and that's the only place where I'm going to be. Or folks there's over 1 billion people on Facebook, so you might want to put something out there. You know, there's a lot of engagement and there's a lot of opportunity on LinkedIn. You may want to put something out there. You know that the world is starting to trend towards the TikToks of the world, the Snapchats of the world, things of that nature. So repurposing, republishing, redistributing your content to these other platforms, depending on whatever your goals are. You know, if you're looking to reach different audiences, more of an audience, and have more conversations, things of that nature, repurposing, republishing, redistributing your content just makes business sense. So not everyone, you don't have to do it, but again, if you're looking to grow and elevate and escalate in terms of what your reach is, it's a good move, and it's so simple now. It's not like when we were building web pages using Dreamweaver and having to know HTML. Right, WordPress is out here, Wix is out here, Squarespace, right? There's tools and platforms that allow you to do much of the hard administrative work. So there's no excuse. Get it done.
Yeah. Well, and even WordPress is kind of complicated for a lot of people nowadays, it seems like. But like, go back to Dreamweaver days, that's even different.
Yeah, I had a flashback on that. Yeah, you weren't ready for that. Huh? I had a flashback for you on that one.
When I was growing up, I messed with Microsoft Office, and I was playing around with Publisher a lot. And so that's what.
You're a little older than I thought there, brother. Okay, there you go.
It was a 2003 version too, but just making magazines and that, and menus and that, and playing around with those old tech. And one thing that I really tried to drive home with a lot of the content I've made in this repurposing series is this idea of being omni-channel, but as a solopreneur or solo creator. And it's not that hard as people think it is. Because like you said, if you repurpose, you syndicate, you have some automations involved. If you're careful with the automations, at least, you want to make sure you're not overdoing it, obviously, too. But when you have all that together, and you're actually trying to execute, putting that effort in, it's not that difficult in the long run if you're using the right tools and the right strategies.
Yeah, I mean, get out of your own way. Right? A lot of times folks are hesitant to step up and do that next level thing because they have this assumption that it's difficult, that it's hard. But again, that's you're self-talking to yourself and you're in your own way. When again, there's platforms, there's tools, there's resources, there's services that allow you to not necessarily having to know all of the behind the scenes zeros and ones of the technology piece. Feed it a bit of information, feed it that content, feed it a prompt or whatever. Again, talking about a generative AR type of platform, and you can have something unique and you can have something original that you can share with your community and then repurpose that to different locations. So if that's your goal and that's what you're looking to do, either as a business, maybe even just a side hustle or just as a hobby, Again, get out of your own way and stop complaining, stop hesitating, get out there and don't be afraid of this technology and go out and take advantage of it and utilize it.
Especially if you act now, too, because a lot of it's still early on.
Oh, yeah.
We're just getting on the first half of that bell curve there.
Well,
it's not bleeding edge anymore.
So some of that could be intimidating as well, though, because it's so early and because there's so many entrants out there, and a lot of times we don't know who's going to stick. So a lot of times folks will say, well, let me wait till somebody's established. Let me wait till, we mentioned Opus a lot, right? There's 15 other generative AI micro content platforms out there, and who do we know is going to stick? We don't. We expect some that are already a little bit further on in their timeline and in their roadmap will stick around, but we latch on to a couple of them, support them. You get what you pay for as well. So don't be always asking don't always be asking for the free version. If you want someone to develop something and you want somebody to continue to innovate, you may have to put some dollars and cents behind the organization as well. So, but you can't sit on the sidelines waiting for whom you think is going to be the next big MySpace, Facebook, Friendster. I'm flashing back. Right. See, again, because you stick with those and then they're gone. And here comes
Yahoo
the next
Messenger.
one. You stick with someone and then they're gone. So just get in, take advantage of it, learn the technology, utilize the technology, become a master at your craft, and then evolve as the technology and the world continues to evolve itself. So don't be afraid of it.
Something you said there sparked something there to me. I think Gary Vee also said this too at one point.
He stole
but
it
it's
from
like,
me.
I bet he did. Not what you just said. What I'm about to say. But like, it's crazy because even if you go on a platform and that platform dies out and you feel like you wasted your time on there, you had learned skills from that time period. So like, I don't use Microsoft Publisher at all, right? But I use the skills in Affinity Photo or Affinity Designer, right? Or maybe I use, I used to play around with Lego, right? Lego website, not like obviously I played with the Legos, but on their website, they had this web page builder. You could build your own little Lego website. It was so cool. And as a kid, middle schooler, like I was on that thing every day, reformatting the website, making it look different. And it was business back in 2005, 2004, like that. It was not common. Yeah. And it was maybe a little bit later, like 2006, but still, like, it's one of those things that was really, really early on. Those skills, that layout, the understanding of web pages, like that whole feature, is long gone. But the skills I learned from that, I was on Vine. I made videos on Vine. Was I popular? No. But I learned how to do the short form stuff. So when Musical.ly came out, I was a lot more prepared. And I was able to go on there in 2018 and been on there since then, on TikTok now. And it's like those skills you learn. That's the key thing.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is transferable. And again, the folks that made multi-millions of dollars on Vine, multi-millions of dollars on some of these other platforms, now that they're gone, they've been able to transfer those skill sets to Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all the things that are coming up now. Now, you got to be conscious, and you can't necessarily spread yourself completely thin and try to be in all the places, right? You can't necessarily be on all the places and be effective, right? You don't necessarily want to segregate and segment your audience and your community like that. You want to really grow a community in specific locations, but be where it makes sense and where it's relevant for you and your community. Dustin and I can't say where it is for you. You have to know your audience. You have to know your message and who you're looking to reach and talk to know where they reside and where they live. A lot of times people will have the majority of their community on Facebook. So, okay, what do you do? You start monetizing that. You start making groups. You start making pages. You start not necessarily putting up a paywall, but what is it? They use stars, right? So you have people pay you through stars, and then you get an invoice from Meta saying you got paid from somebody in your community. So you start utilizing those platforms because that's where your community is. So there you go.
Well, and the whole spreading yourself too thin concept is so true. And what's really funny is that my other show that I do is the Polymath Polycast, someone who's multidisciplinary, who's spreading themselves more and effectively, like not spreading themselves too thin, but spreading themselves effectively. And in order to do that as a creator, you may not be able to be on every platform, and you shouldn't be on every platform until you're ready to do so. As you grow as a creator, you'll be able to do Facebook way easier or Pinterest way easier because you had a little bit of experience there. You leave it, you go focus on your main thing. Eventually, when you come back, you can go back to it and actually go full throttle on it. I don't really have a Pinterest strategy myself, right? But I use an automation to take my Instagram pics, post it to Pinterest, I also started adding all my interview clips that I'm posting to TikTok, Shorts, and Reels, and I added Pinterest to it.
Nice.
Simple little addition. Now I get like 23,000 views every month on that platform, and all I'm doing is, syndicating. So you may not have to be on the platform, but you can still share to it and do part of
you can be again utilizing the technology. You don't have to be proactive, but you can be reactive, but and still push out and meet people where they are. But I like the statement you said about keep the main thing, right? Because again, if 90% of your folks are over here and you're messing around over there, well, it's very short-lived. Very, very short-lived. That's not a good business strategy at all. And again, I'm talking a lot about the business strategy as opposed to, again, more just a side hustle or just as a fun, passion kind of thing. Because again, a lot of us out here working to make money, and we're out here turning this into a business, or have turned this into a business. So that financial part has to be front of mind as well, right? We can't be going out there and doing things that aren't hitting the bottom line and aren't actually raising that level. So we have to be conscious in terms of what we actually put our time and effort into.
I feel called out because I'm definitely not focusing on the monetization nearly as much as I probably should be.
In due time, if that's what matters and that's what resonates for you, you will. But in due time, you do. And do enjoy what it is that you do, and don't try to follow anyone else, man. Listen, you can't be anyone else except Dustin, brother. Be the best you.
I like that. I have one more question for you here, right?
Yeah.
We might have a little follow-up or whatever, but what do you have coming down the line that you are looking forward to?
Oh man, I told you I can't. Listen, I already gave you a little bit.
Talk about that.
So it's multiple streams of income is a huge thing. So I'll get back to that, right? So yeah, the Google checks that come in are fantastic, but you can't rely 100% on AdSense checks. Being able to diversify, someone like a Roberto Blake says you have to have, and you should have at least 10 to 15, maybe even 20 streams of income if you're in this content creation world. So coaching, master classes, conferences, speaking engagements, things like that. Merchandise is huge for me. So I have spun up my merch store. Shouts out to the folks out at Fourth Wall. That's the platform that I use. And you see me rocking the hat, you see me rocking the shirt, you see the coffee. But I've got different types of things. Appreciate you, brother. And that's conscious as well, right? This ain't just your regular stuff, right? This is the real deal type of stuff. If I'm going to ask you to spend your hard-earned dollars, I want to make sure that it's quality gear and quality merch that you're buying. So, got a couple of things that are launching. What's today? Yeah, in the next week. A couple of things that are launching next week. I can't tell, but I did launch a couple of other things late last week that are out there on the store as well. But that's really where I'm seeing some good traction, and so bringing unique quality merchandise that doesn't have my name on it. You know that, right? No one wants to walk around with James Hicks on their shirt. So I'll have a cool, catchy tagline or something like that kind of resonates with the majority as opposed to a minority. And that's where we're at right now. So
I love that.
Some people want to walk around with my name, my parents, but other than that, no.
Well, and it's one of those things too, where like James Hicks is your personal brand, but you also have your business brand that's very close to you, and it makes sense. Poly Innovator is my personal brand; it's my name. I care more about this name than I do Dustin Miller. You know what I mean? But like, no one's gonna be wearing Dustin Miller, like you said. But people might wear this, or at the very least, they'll put this on the back and put a quote on the front, or something like that, like your second slogan. I like that. So, where can people find you, James? Online or in the world? I guess if you want to be like that.
I tell you what, start at jameshicks.link. That is actually kind of a catch-all for all things. It has connections to my merch store, to my YouTube channel, to my to hicksnewmedia.com. It has tie-ins to everything. So jameshicks.link is really the best place to reach me. And you can also get on my calendar and things like that if anyone wants to go into a deeper dive conversation or consultancy type of thing about, again, the business of technology. That's where you can get me.
And I'll have links for you in the description too, of course. And I really appreciate you coming on. And I love talking to you. I love getting into those different tangents. So thanks for being here, man.
Man, thank you, brother. This was fun. I appreciate the opportunity, man. I'm glad we were able to connect. And hopefully I was able to bring some value to you and to your audience as well.
And I think it's gonna be really interesting too. I really want to go to CES. So maybe this coming up CES, I could try to come over there. We can meet in person.
Man. Listen, I can add you to the team. I don't think it's too late to add folks. We can talk about that. Let's talk about that offline.